il passato prossimo. Okay, so passato prossimo is a past tense, and we use it when we want to describe a past action, okay? Something that happened in the past. Could it be 2 minutes ago, or could it be 3 years ago? Usually, passato prossimo will be accompanied in a sentence by something like ieri, which means yesterday. Or it could be 3 giorni fa, where fa means ago, so 3 days ago. Okay. Now, I'm gonna write 2 possible conjugations of verbs. So passato prossimo could be, for example, ho guardato, could be sono andato o andata, and we will see why we have the difference. Now, if I look at the passato prossimo is made of 2 verbs, like the words passato prossimo, in the same way the conjugation with 1 and 2, 1 and 2. In this case, ho and sono are the ausiliare, or sometimes I call it the helping verb. So they don't give me the meaning of the sentence, but they actually help me building up. In this case, what they helping me to also understand is that the subject of the sentence is io, I have watched, and the same for sono. Okay, so io is my subject. If I wanted to say you have watched, so the avere for tu, okay, tu is my subject, the avere is I, tu I, and then again it would be guardato, so the second part doesn't change. Tu hai guardato, you have watched, or you watched. The essere for tu, if I think of tu, is tu sei, you are, and then I keep the same, andato o andata, andato o andata. Now, the second part, so guardato e andato, it's called past participle or participio passato. In English, it's like your last part. Well, it's past participle in English as well. But for example, if I say I have eaten, okay, your past participle is eaten. Now, the participio passato, we have regular or irregular verbs. Now, if the verb is a regular verb, regolare, the participio passato for a are verb will be atto. So, per esempio, guardare becomes guardato. Now remember, by itself, it's not enough to make my passato prossimo. I need to have avere in the front. If a verb is a ere verb, the past participle will end up in uto. So, per esempio, what did I have? Vendere, to sell, becomes venduto, sold. And the last one are my ire verbs. Now, there's no isk, nothing to worry about isk. All ire, unless they are irregular, become ito. So, ad esempio, finire, finito. Capire, capito. Preferire, preferito. Okay? So, this is what happens for my regular verbs. Unfortunately, sometimes my past participle is not regular, but it's actually irregular. So in that case, I just have to remember them. So a few famous examples. Fare, to do. Done is fatto. Ho fatto, I have done, or I did. Leggere. So it's not leggiuto, because it's not regular, will become letto. Letto means read. O per esempio prendere. Prendere will become preso, taken. Okay, so this is my past participle, and I just have to sort of memorize them and remember them. Now back to us. The most important part when I do a passato prossimo is to decide when I'm using avere or essere as my helping verb. So avere or essere, that's the hardest part for the students usually. There are many rules, there are many ways, there are many theories. I usually give few options for avere and then essere, but of course there might be even more. But I prefer to have less options, but just be clear on those ones. If I say that I will use avere every time I have a transitive verb. Now, transitive verb, most students don't know what a transitive verb is. Okay. Now, a transitive verb is a verb that can have a direct object. Again, I could be talking something that you have no idea what I'm talking about. Now, per esempio, I'll give you an example. Io mangio, that's present tense. Mangio la mela. Now, I is my subject, always doing the action. Mangio is my verb, and as you can see, it agrees with the subject. What do I eat? La mela. That's my direct object. So the answer to the question, what or who. Okay. So what you have to do every time you have a verb and you're not sure if it's taking essere or avere, you ask yourself a question. The question is, can I, my verb, eat in this case, because I'm looking at mangiare, can I eat something or someone? Okay, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be both of them. Can I eat something or someone? If the answer is yes, then I will use avere. So I will say ho mangiato. If the answer is no, most likely I will use essere. So there are a few other examples. Let's think of a verb like incontrare, to meet. Incontrare. Can I meet someone? Yes, of course. So it takes avere. Or a verb like bere, to drink. Can I drink something? Yes, takes avere. Mangiare, we already said, takes avere. Scrivere, can I write something? Of course, takes avere. I can write a book. Comprare, to buy. Okay, comprare. Can I buy something or someone? Yes, avere. Okay. I can buy a book, for example, or I can buy an ice cream. The same will work for leggere. I can read a book. Studiare, I can study a language. So most verbs will take avere. Now we look at when we're using essere. Now there are a few rules. First of all, we use essere with movement verbs. Now when I say movement verbs, sort of think of in and out. It doesn't tell me how I move, it just tells me that I'm coming or going. So in this group, we will have verbs like andare, to go, venire, to come. You cannot come someone or something. So you can come somewhere. Okay, so it sort of answers no to my previous question. So andare, venire. Arrivare, to arrive. You cannot arrive something. You can arrive somewhere. Partire, to depart. Compared to English, doesn't work the same way, but we have entrare e uscire. Because for us, entrare means to go in, so it's a movement, e uscire is to get out, it's a movement, okay? So you cannot enter a room, you go into a room in Italian. So andare, venire, arrivare, partire, entrare, uscire. When we talk about verbs like camminare, to walk, volare, to fly, correre, to run, usually we would say that this is a way that you're moving, it's not the actual movement, and it most likely will take avere. There will be times when it takes essere, but we're not going to look at that yet. Okay, so for now just think any movement that indicates in or out, but doesn't tell me how I am moving. So andare, venire, arrivare, partire, entrare, ed uscire. The second group is the change of status or status. We're going to say status like we do in Italian. Verbs like nascere, okay, to be born. You were not here and suddenly you are here. That's a big change, okay? The past participle, remember, of nascere is nato. Okay, nato means to be born. Sono nato in Italia. The opposite of nascere is morire. Past participle is morto or morta. I don't know. Neil Armstrong è morto. Then we have diventare, to become. Okay, you were something, you become something else. Or crescere, to grow up. You were little, suddenly you big. Okay, so all these verbs take always, always essere. Second last group, the opposite of movement. Two verbs, stare, to stay, e rimanere, to remain. Okay, so every time you say to stay or to remain, like I stayed in the hotel for 5 days, you can use stare or rimanere, but remember it takes essere. And then we have reflexive verbs. Reflexive verbs. Now we haven't really done reflexive verbs before, but it's one of those verbs when you say, per esempio, to enjoy oneself. Okay? The verb is divertirsi. That's infinitive. So when you see a verb that ends up in si, that's a reflexive verb. Your si represents oneself, and we will look at them later. So the other and last probably thing to remember, so if we go back, and we're looking at the two sentences that I have up here, ho guardato e sono andato, we want to notice that when I'm using avere, the ending will be the same for every person. Ho guardato, hai guardato, ha guardato, abbiamo guardato, avete guardato, hanno guardato. So it's always the same, o ito or uto. When I'm using essere, I have to remember that the ending, changes according to who is the subject. So if I am a girl, I say io sono andata. If I'm a boy, I say io sono andato. Now, when I go into plural, let's remember this one. Let me turn the page. When we go into plurale, allora, io sono andato o andata, okay, depending on the gender of io. Tu sei andato o andata, depending on the gender of you. Lui, now lui we know it's masculine, so we will say è andato, e for lei, which we know it's feminine, we will say è andata. Okay, up to here all good. Now for the plural ones, like noi, it's more than one person, voi e loro. Okay, so for the plural, noi siamo, so I put the first part, voi siete, loro sono. Now the ending would be like a normal adjective. So maschile plurale, andati, maschile plurale femminile, andate. So if it is a group of girls, we went out, okay? It's a group of girls, we say noi siamo andate. If it is a group of boys, noi siamo andati. If it is a mixed group, we follow the masculine. Quindi voi siete andati o andate e loro sono andati o andate. So very important for essere that we change the endings. Hope it's all clear. Bye!